Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry gamers.
Hello, and welcome, boys and girls, to the 285th episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We're powered by ATEBIT.net and those sexy audio-based legends over at Audio Technica. Check out their brand new website, get yourself some gear ASAP. I'm your extremely humble host, Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere at Brendan8bit. And joining me today, my podcast, Ride I Die, through sickness and in health. You can find her on them socials at Miss Ali Hart. Miss Ali Hart, how the bloody hell are you?
Doing better now, thank you.
Yeah, I've heard you've been a little ill the last week or so.
Yes. Took a while, but I got the COVID. So, yeah, it was nasty. I could only imagine how horrible it would have been hadn't I had my vaccine, a booster shot. So, kind of glad I did that because it was it was a lot of sleeping, but there was the struggles that kind of happened in between all that business. So it's been a week now, so good to go. Got my energy back, and ready to sit back in the podcast chair. Thank you, Jono, for keeping my seat warm.
Yeah, he did an admirable job last weekend and kept us on the straight and narrow. I thought that I had the onset of COVID just as we were recording. That sort of weekend, it hit me as well, but I just had some random loogie. The COVID still does not want myself, no matter how hard I try, but maybe one day I'll catch it.
You do not want that business. I can tell you that now. Nothing. I thought I lived a really sad hermit life as it is, but no, it's even sadder when you kind of confine yourself to one room. So
yeah, that would be tough. Like, you get a lot of you time and you can focus on catching up on a lot of shows and games or whatever, or just a lot of sleep. So there's some positives that come from such a negative ailment.
Yeah, when you're not sleeping all the time. I had to rewatch a lot of things because I fell asleep through most of it. So, but I finished Critical Role's first campaign of Vox Machina. So
that's insane. Like you were crunching the numbers for me earlier in the week, and you said 113 episodes.
115.
Approximately 115. I said 13 again. You even corrected me earlier.
Yeah.
115 episodes at around 4 to 4.5 hours per episode.
Yeah. My husband calculated it to 19 days of my life. So
on just one campaign too. That's
one
just
campaign.
One.
Yeah, that's just the one. It was great. I loved it. I laughed. I cried. It was great. So I'll wait till I start the second campaign because I get a little obsessive and just that's all I will watch. So, but highly recommend it. Anyone that's been interested, I can tell you now just by watching it, it will make you want to play D&D. So,
yeah, I'm still yet to dip that toe. I know it's inevitable. The more you talk about it, and the more Benny and other friends of ours talk about it, I'm like, I know it's going to be great. I love the animated series they did on Amazon. So I have a feeling I'm going to love watching the original source material and see this all play out live in a very unfiltered, unscripted manner. But I just haven't taken the plunge because I've been too busy watching so many romantic comedy slice of life animes this past week. Holy guacamole. I have been on the binge train something hard. I'm just going to sort of high level skim over. But I fell in love with a show called The Quintessential Quintuplets last weekend when I was sick. And yes, that name sounds very bizarre. The really short version of this show is, 5 sisters, obviously quintuplets, and they're in high school and they're not very good students. Like, they're not very smart. They're not doing well in their tests. So they get one of their fellow students who's like the top of the class, the smartest boy in the room all the time, to tutor them to try and get their grades up so they don't get kicked out of the school and things like that. So there's hilarity in him trying to connect to the 5 very different personality types of each one of the sisters, and then trying to work out common ground to get them interested in studying. But then, like, as this happens over time, they all start to develop feelings for him. So then they're all like the throes of the 5 sisters sort of loving this guy and working out if it's true feelings or how to win him over. So there's sort of this like cat and mouse with all the sisters and this guy who's very aloof to it anyway and just wants to study and be just this smart bookworm model student. So it's super fun, super funny to watch. I watched both seasons within like a day, and I just found out there was a movie that came out in the past week, so I'm trying to dig that up at the moment to check that out. And there's a third season on the way because I want to know, because like in the credits it shows him marrying one of the sisters, but you don't know who it is. So it's almost like a How I Met Your Mother situation where you know the end goal, but you don't know how and who. So I love that. Super cute. Another one I watched that the title of this one's even worse. It's called Rent a Girlfriend.
Oh, Lord.
And similar concept, they're older now, they're 20-somethings at university, and this guy's just been dumped by his first girlfriend of his life. He was she was the love of his life, and he got dumped like a month in, and he was grieving, and he's like, what can I do to forget her? And there was like almost like a Craigslist website where you can rent certain girls to be your girlfriend for a day and get the girlfriend experience in air quotes. And so he signs up to this service and has this long con where his friends and family meet this girlfriend that he was renting through coincidental moments. And then he's like, well, I can't break up with her now. She has to be my girlfriend. So he's like dating this fake girlfriend for a year and dealing with all that other hijinks and other people. It's another that. Then all these other people start falling for him. Just cute, dumb, romantic comedy has been my poison this week. And the other one is Lovers War, where these two heads of a school both love each other, but they refuse to tell each other they do. So they're like trying to shit stir and wind each other up enough for the first one to yield and actually say, I do have feelings for you. And, they would be the winner. So there's just this constant jousting and jostling for power and trying to make the person look silly to then be like, yeah, sorry, I've felt for you this whole time. So yeah, I'm just in a romantic comedy spiral, Miss Hart. Help me, please.
Absolutely adorable. I love hearing these, especially these ones. Like, I'm not one for like judging a book by its cover, because we all are victims of it. But just like seeing you and then hearing about these animes that you've been watching, it just doesn't line up, but it's quite adorable. So, but there's a massive genre in anime and really popular in Japan. So
yeah, I love it. Like these nice, like pure of heart shows that are wholesome and funny and cute and romance laden, and I'm all for it. So it's been a nice palate cleanser all week watching that. Leading up to, I watched the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi that dropped last night on Disney Plus. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil anything because I'm not like that. But I'm enjoying what they're putting on the screen. Ewan McGregor fell right back into that robe. Felt very Obi-Wan-esque. And yeah, I'm keen to see what they do in future episodes. And obviously, through the trailers, that they're leading heavily into the whole Order 66 situation and the Inquisitors. And I'm just excited to see what they do with all that. It was really cool. That the tone was unexpected, but it felt great.
Yeah, we still yet to watch it in this household. We'll probably be watching it after the podcast, to be honest with you. Seeing mixed opinions, about the show. So yeah, it should be interesting to see how it is, how I receive it. Because it's very, very mixed.
It feels better than the majority of the Book of Boba Fett, if you want a cheap comparison.
I still can't believe they dropped that one.
Yeah. But I see you've been watching something else before we pivot into, I guess, what we've been playing this week.
So, to your happiness, I actually watched 1883. It's just called 1883, right?
Yep.
The prequel to Yellowstone?
Yeah, like, it's completely unnecessary that they've... Well, it's not unnecessary. Like, they can see that Yellowstone is this giant cash cow, so they're trying to get every penny out of that brand as much as they can. They've got 1883, then they've got... I think they've already confirmed a follow-up to this, which is 1932, I think, which is like the next prequel to Yellowstone that's on the way. But yeah, 1883 is a standalone showing how the Dutton Ranch and the Dutton family came to be.
Yeah. Well, full disclosure, I've watched parts and episodes of Yellowstone because my husband really got into it, and Brendan's heard a lot of my opinions of it, so I won't hit everyone else with it, but it's not positive. It is very not positive.
Yeah, you did not really enjoy Yellowstone.
It was bad. A lot of bad acting, bad story, bad a lot of things, and I just... the way I described it, it's a soap opera for men.
Yeah, I enjoyed that you said it was The Young and the Restless for men.
The Young and Restless. Yes, exactly. The days of our lives.
Damn you, Ridge.
But, so I couldn't endure that. But then since my husband kind of took a page from your book and just binged the whole thing of Yellowstone, he then started watching 1883. This one's not so bad. I'm liking the historical kind of element of it. There's definitely a lot more budget behind it, and it seems like they've kind of put a little bit more effort into story and kind of establishing likable characters in a sense. And like I said, I really like the historical element of it, learning about like Central America and like how the middle part of America kind of came to be and people found their wealth and such. Luckily my husband's there kind of filling me in on little historical facts about things, about why they're happening and why things are happening that they are. But for the most part, I think if I could watch 1883, like that one is one that has captivated me. It's more interesting, it looks a lot better. And so if anyone's been wondering, should I start Yellowstone or should I start 1883, my opinion is just go straight to 1883, especially if you're maybe a bit of a history buff or you like more of the Wild West kind of style. It's pretty good.
It's really good, and it's so pretty. It's the way I've compared it and described it to a lot of people. It's like poetry on the screen, like a lot of the voiceovers and stuff and the way they talk about scenes and things going on. It's so poetic and it's so pretty, but then it's so freaking brutal. Like some of the things you see happen, it was a hard time back then, and patrolling these wild lands often were full of risk and death and heartache. And yeah, it's a beautiful show, and yeah, it's a nice one shot. The acting is good. Considering the lead was a country music star who is actually a pretty decent actor in his own right, it feels like these days.
He really?
Yeah. He's and Faith Hill, who plays his wife in this, obviously he's a country music star as well.
Yeah,
and they're both pretty decent actors in their own right. So that's good to know.
Still looks really good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they've aged well. They've aged very well.
Money helps, I guess, but yeah.
That's true. But no, I loved 1883. Can't speak highly enough of it.
So...
yeah. Well, on the other side of the coin, what have you been playing this week?
Obviously, I know you said that, when you're sick, you kind of play video games, but I really couldn't. I didn't have energy for anything. I couldn't think. I couldn't function. But a little game came out on Apple Arcade. So for those little moments or like bursts of energy and coherentness that I had, I was able to play this game up, Warped Kart Races, on my phone on Apple Arcade. And it's a kart game based on a lot of the Fox franchise. So you got Family Guy, American Dad, King of the Hill, and I still keep forgetting what that damn alien show is called that kind of has, I think it's the same people that did Rick and Morty maybe, or maybe it's just taking a page from that kind of style. But it's essentially just your standard kart race with characters from the shows, and you've got your standard races, and then you've got battle maps and everything like that. And for a game that I'm just playing on my mobile phone, it's actually been pretty decent, kind of reminiscent of the times of playing all those kind of games that kind of get franchised into a kart game with familiar characters and then blurting out quotes, funny quotes from the series and such like that. But it's fine. It's good for a game that you play on your phone. There doesn't seem like there's going to be much longevity to it because I'm already unlocking a majority of the characters, and at this stage I'm not seeing much in customization apart from each character having one. But it's fun if you're a person that has iOS or Apple Arcade. I think it's one probably to put on your radar. A little bit of fun snap game, I guess. Playing in short intervals. There's multiplayer, so you can play with people all around the world and race. and for handling on it, because I haven't got a controller to attach to my phone for on-screen controls, it's not bad. Bad with my nails, but not terrible. So it's been a good distraction from my ailment.
I was actually looking at one of those backbone controllers. I think they're called, the one that like cradles your smartphone in, so your phone, like, then you actually have physical controls on the side for mobile gaming. I thought about buying one this week, but then I'm like, what am I going to play on my smartphone? Because I don't play anything on there apart from WWE Supercard right now, and I don't really need controls for that. So,
do you guys have Xbox Cloud yet?
We do, and that's what I thought. I'm like, that's probably the only thing that I'll be using, but like when I travel with work, that would be ideal. I can play Fortnite on the go via xCloud with the backbone controller. So maybe I need to buy one, and then I can jump into some warped kart races, because I love a good kart game. Love a good kart game.
It really isn't that bad. There's a lot of elements of it that kind of reminded me of remember the South Park kart game? Like,
oh yeah. What was that? I can't remember what it was called, but like it was fun and crude and very South Park. It was great.
Yeah, exactly. Like it holds itself by being relatable and, no, I wouldn't say nostalgic, because the IP isn't necessarily that old, but the King of the Hill is. But like it has, that's what keeps you interested and keeps you engaged in this kart race, and why it matters just a little bit more than your average like racing kind of game. So, and it's not completely polished. There's a lot of graphical things that kind of happen while you're playing, and you're kind of like, oof, that's a bit rough. But like I said, for a mobile game, it's actually pretty decent.
Can I ask, does old Hank Hill, does he ride on mower by chance? Is that his kart?
You can pick whatever car you want, but yes, his red ride-on lawnmower is one of them, and I have been driving on that, and the Petermobile from Family Guy. So.
I'll have to give it a look. I haven't played a ton of games this week either. Like in between just feeling a bit cruddy and watching all of the romantic comedy anime on the planet, I have been playing and working my way through Sniper Elite 5, which has also dropped this past week, and it's available on Xbox Game Pass, which is
You've been getting
awesome.
them testicle shots?
I've been X-ray shooting every appendage and organ on the planet. It's been fantastic. But 5-Star Games via way of Rebellion Developments shot me a code last week, so I've sort of been chipping away at that, and I haven't been too familiar. Like, I haven't played a ton of the Sniper Elite games over the years. Like, obviously, this is the 5th go around in that franchise, and I've been really enjoying it. So, Sniper Elite 5, the setting, it's based in and around like the landing of Normandy. So, you're landing in this world just before the big main landing itself happens. That, just about every war game and combat game has covered back to front over the years. Like, it is, I think, the most focused part of warfare that's been done on video game, big screen, small screen. We know that. But this game, you jump into the role of this sniper, and you're teaming up with the French Rebellion to just try and get some plans in place to make that landing be, I guess, as smooth as possible. We know in reality that's not the case, but it's really fun. Like, there's 8 sandbox levels, and when I'm saying sandbox, like, think of if you've played a Hitman game where you've got so many routes to your goal, and as far as how you want to achieve it, it's up to you. You can be as stealthily and as snipery as you like and try and find large vantage points and shoot guys from across the way. You can interact with objects and vehicles in the environment to blow things up. You can incite violence in other ways, melee and close quarters combat with every gun under the sun. The great thing is every gun you can put a suppressor on it, so you can be a little bit more run and gun and trigger happy as opposed to the traditional sniper archetype of standing back and just waiting for the ideal moment to kill your target. But as you mentioned, the franchise itself is known for that X-ray system where when you are getting that kill shot onto the enemy, gives you the slow-mo, you watch the bullet cam go across the way, hits the target, you see inside that target, you see its organs get shot to hell and the bullet exit out the back. And it's super Mortal Kombat in that X-ray archetype. And it's great. I wish, like, I don't know if this is going to make me sound a bit psychotic, but I wish it was gorier. Like,
Yeah,
you
I get
do
it.
you do see the bullet come through, right? Like, and you see the X-ray, so you sort of see the trauma like of a headshot, and you see the bullet go through the brain, but you don't really see it like the whole realism. Like, it gets capped. Like, knowing what these guns and these death machines can do, you'd think there'd be limbs flying and things like that happening, like in something like A Soldier of Fortune, which was violence to another degree. It's sort of scaled back in this. You don't get a lot of that violence. You do get like blood splatter and like misting of blood and things when these bullets hit, but I wanted it to be more. Is that gross? Is that wrong?
I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think if they're already going to this level of being like, hey, you've done a shot and you've actually hit such a specific location, we're going to go to the effort and show you exactly like an X-ray version of the trauma that you've essentially caused. But there's 1 minute of like kind of like showing you like I kind of said at the start, like a popped testy. Like you watch it just go pop. Like you see the organ or you see whatever, it kind of like pops or it, it gets the damage, the tear or whatever. But yeah, like you said, it's not necessarily gory for what's relatable to what's actually happening. But yeah, I could understand. It's like if you're going to go, don't go half-ass, go full-ass. So
yeah, full-ass would have been great in that regard. But it's still really fun, like navigating this battlefield that's just about to turn to hell with D-Day on its doorstep is really cool. So knowing what's happening and knowing what you're trying to prevent adds this nice layer of tension. If anyone's familiar with a little bit of history, I'd say just about everybody knows what's gone down at D-Day anyway. But yeah, playing as this Carl Fairburn, this brazen American sniper who's a bit of a dude, it's kind of cool. He's easy to maneuver. The controls pretty smooth. You've got some traversal options, so you can sort of climb and sort of move around. In the previous ones, I think last one I might have played was 2 or 3, and it was a bit tanky. The controls, it was a bit stiff and rigid in the movement, but it feels pretty intuitive, like camera over the shoulder style, so you can always see Carl, and then obviously when you're aiming down sights, it's going to shift to first person ADS view through the sniper scope. So, you're seeing what's around you, you're stealthing around. You can choose to just YOLO and push in and just mow everybody down and trigger all the alarms and have everyone come at you, but it ain't going to end well. It rewards you on being smart and tactically efficient as far as those kills and using traps and decoys and distractions. And it's really fun. Like, the 8 different levels you get, they're all very different and unique in as far as the goals and the targets you need to assassinate or the war machines you need to take down. But then the locations are different. You're going through like war-torn, trench-laden farmland to an area where you're at this tidal island with a big like French castle on a hillside that you got to walk up. And that level, I think that was the third level in the game. It sort of mixed things up a little bit. Instead of you constantly looking for the high ground and having a bit of advantage, this one is where you're sort of traversing it like upwards the whole time. So it's tougher for you to do the more snipey stuff, and instead you're stealthing around and melee killing guys and breaking necks and X-ray visioning guys through the throat with a little dagger. And it's kind of cool, and it kept things fresh. And yeah, it's gruesome and fun and gory and tense. But then something else that they've brought into this game that just blew my mind, and it got me super excited for more, because if you're playing this game online, you can have it setting where you can be playing and you can have something on called Invasion, where you're working through these main levels, but then an enemy sniper that's real controlled character, so say you could invade my game to try and kill me, where I have to try and kill you. Like, think of anyone
like
that's watched...
Deathloop.
Yeah, like Deathloop, or anyone that's watched, like, the movie Enemy at the Gates. The best war sniper movie. So
Excellent
good. You with me?
Yeah.
Picture that. Like, picture those exchanges between Ed Harris and Jude Law. And that's what this game becomes. Like, you're running around this war zone, but then you've got a German sniper trying to hunt you down. And if you just, like, get scared and go prone, if you don't move enough for a certain period of time, it will then notify the enemy that's trying to kill you where you are. So then they can make a beeline straight for you, but you can use like almost like a sniper sense where you sort of long click the right stick and it'll sort of show, like it'll point like on the compass, the enemies in this vicinity roughly. So there's this cat and mouse with a real character coming for your dog tags while you're still trying to do these levels, and it just really elevated the whole game itself. And it's like the first time it happened, it scared the shit out of me. I'm like, I was straight away hiding in a bush, prone, not moving. And then my location was disclosed. I'm like, fuck, okay, I gotta move now.
The
and
chicken's sitting here.
Yeah. And then we had a bit of a shootout and a snipe across these, like this decrepit sort of farmlands. I died. And you can choose to, straight away you can say, I want a rematch, or you can just go back to the game and it'll reload the nearest auto save. So you don't like lose all your progression. It'll just put you back to closely where you were before this whole exchange started playing out. So it's just this awesome little wrinkle that just completely threw me for a loop. I didn't pay attention when I went into the game to start with and read actually what that was about. But then when it started playing out, it was insane when this character's invading me and trying to kill me. Fighting against this Jaeger sniper, as they're called, was just really, really cool and just added so much tension and so much stress to me. Well, I was already stressful trying to sneak around and do my thing for the American-French alliance that we had going on here, but it was really good and surprise hit. Like, I was playing this game with no expectations and I'm really enjoying it. It's one of the funnest things I've played in a long time. And yeah, if you're already on Game Pass, do yourself a favor and download this and give it a spin, because it's super fun. Like, it's not a perfect 10 out of 10 game, but it is a really highly scored, highly enjoyable game that is well worth your time. And just the way you can go about these missions, combining in that invasion element at any given time, is just super cool and a great wrinkle. And yeah, I highly recommend it. It's definitely 8-bit approved for me.
Awesome. I like how I always had an interest in playing these kind of games, because like I'm not necessarily, whenever we play first person shooters, I'm usually the one to kind of avoid snipering, but I feel like it's usually because when, especially in a team environment and playing in a battle royale, there's so much on the line to, miss a shot. But like this kind of game sounds pretty cool to me, because like it's the focal point, but it's also, I like that you kind of connected it to Hitman as well, the way that kind of things are laid out, which tells me that you can kind of set your pacing, which I appreciate. And it's on Game Pass, so maybe I will have a look at this one, because I've always been intrigued. So this might be the time to actually try it.
The Game Pass hook is awesome. Like the fact that it's released day one on Game Pass, we do our best to not sound like shills for Game Pass, but when the value's there, you got to talk about it. And this is a great release. One of the better games I've played this year so far, and it's super fun. And yeah, like if you like Hitman or if you like war games, they've blended the two together in this game, and it's just fun and enjoyable and stressful but accessible. Like as you said, you get just dropped into this big map, and as you walk around, you'll get more things pop up as far as, we've just found out there's a giant, anti-aircraft gun over there that you could disarm if you want to. So you could trudge over there, or you could just go for the target. You can do anything on the map in whatever order you choose, and it's really awesome to have that freedom of choice while you're getting gunned down from every which way. And yeah, it's super cool. Like Rebellion, the studio behind this, is I think they've really found their secret sauce for this franchise. Fifth time lucky, I guess.
Yeah, I mean they've always had like a strong fan base behind it, and there's been plenty of memes from each release that we kind of get as announced. So I just added to the list, and another great Sniper Elite game.
100%. And those X-ray shots, they just never get old, especially if you're
really
shooting
don't.
like from far away and you're taking into account wind speed, bullet drop and all that, and you like get a headshot from like across the map. You feel so good. You feel so good, especially when you see the X-ray and like the eye shock goggles. Like it's like, the eyeballs through the skull, and it's just a whole thing. And check it out. Sniper Elite 5, available now on a whole host of platforms, and available included in Xbox Game Pass. But quick bit of housekeeping. Obviously, you wanted to support us, you can do so by buying our merchandise over at shop8bit.net or over at ko-fi.com/we're8bit for a low price of $1 per month. You get exclusive access to perks, giveaways, random swagger, and a whole lot more. We've also got our latest giveaway still running live for an ATH GL3 gaming headset from Audio Technica. To enter, all you got to do is simply just take a screenshot of you leaving a rating for The Hungry Gamers or any of the other 8-Bit podcasts on Spotify. It's a 2-second process. You grab that screenshot there, you drop it in our DMs on the socials at weare8bit or on the email at hello@8bit.net, and you go in the draw, and we'll be announcing that in early June. So do what you can there to get an ATH GL3 Gaming's headset. Fantastic headset. Comes in white and black, so you might even have some choice on which aesthetic you're going for. It feels good and sounds even better. But Miss Hart, let's jump into this.
This week's news headlines.
And the first quick hitter makes me sad a little bit, but I'm still excited for the game overall. Supermassive Games has announced the online multiplayer component for its upcoming release, The Quarry, has been delayed. And the tweet/quote reads, "The wait is almost over and Supermassive Games is so excited for you to get your hands on The Quarry," the developer tweeted, while bringing its community's attention to the game's release date of June the 10th. So obviously this game is out in the next fortnight. But they follow on to say, "However, we've made the difficult decision to delay the online multiplayer." Supermassive states the reason for this delay is to ensure that it delivers the best possible experience to players on its eventual release date. Thankfully, this delay is not going to be a huge one, and the online multiplayer is now planned to release via an update by the 8th of July. So a little under a month after release. So that's not too bad. I was a little bit sad because I've got some keys queued for us to play like we did with House of Ashes online together. But that's going to have to wait. So we're going to have to get our singular experience and feedback for The Quarry leading up to release. And then a month later, we'll have to pivot back and see how we go working collectively to survive The Quarry and what's his name? David Arquette and his host of cronies.
I had so much anxiety, like playing the Supermassive games. You obviously have that low level anxiety playing it anyway because any mistake changes the narrative. But then when we played together, I felt even more anxiety because I didn't want to fuck it up. Because then I'm not only ruining it for myself, I'm ruining it for you too. So. And this one looks extra spooky.
It really does.
So now I'm even more anxious, getting sweaty palms.
But you know what? If anything, this gives us a month to hone our crafts. So by the time the multiplayer comes around, we could be veterans of The Quarry. Yeah,
true. Like this one looks really exciting. It look really like I'm really getting vibes from like the original like Until Dawn. Until Dawn? Yes. Yep. And I'm kind of excited because I think they did really well narratively there and kind of setting the stage for scariness. And so I'm actually looking forward to seeing playthroughs of The Quarry.
Me too. Like it feels like it's going to be a return to their roots with Until Dawn, which is still the pinnacle of this choose your own adventure horror extraordinaire that they've sort of fine-tuned and added and tweaked to over the years with the Dark Pictures anthology games. But yeah, The Quarry looks like it could be, if it lands the right way, it feels like it could be right up there with Until Dawn as far as one of my favorite games that I've played. And I'm excited to see what they do with it. I like where the story's implying it's going to go and the grittiness and just that 80s slashery vibe that just sort of pours through in the trailers. And the fact that this game's out, like we're recording on the 28th of May right now. So this game's out in a little under 2 weeks time. Yeah. And I'm very excited to play. And then I'm very excited to play the month after with you, like with the likes of yourself. Maybe we can try and get a few more people in and have like a 4-player online.
Is that possible?
Yeah, I think you can have more. Either that or you could just like, could do the pass and control and have a few different characters controlled by a few people locally mixing in the online. So I'm excited to see what we can do there.
Should be interesting.
Yes. I cannot wait. But that's one of my most anticipated for the year, and the fact that it's coming out very soon. Happy days. Very, very happy days. Something else that's a bit of a happy day which is coming out in the next few, I should say. Sony has announced a summer or winter for us here in the AU State of Play broadcast showing off upcoming PlayStation 5 and PlayStation VR 2 games. And you don't have to wait too long, listeners, because this is going to be happening on Thursday, June 2nd or Friday, June 3rd for here in the AU in the morning. So, they've said I think they're going to showcase upwards of about 20 new PS VR 2 games as well as some other announcements. So, this is cool. This is cool. I don't know if this is going to be their big summer State of Play.
That's a good question, actually.
But more content, and excited to see what they're doing with the PSVR 2 because
Same.
I'm probably going to buy it, play it for about 5 minutes, love it, and then it's going to sit there with my other PSVR.
Yeah, I'm always interested to see how much they've developed into the VR space. PlayStation kind of leading the way, on the console basis. So, I'd like to see like kind of what they've been developing and what they've been backing. Hopefully it's not a lot of other like VR titles from the other devices and just porting it onto a PlayStation. Yeah, either way, it should be interesting to see what Sony has lined up. I'm sure a lot of the rumored stuff will probably actually get announced and kind of clear the air of a lot of the rumors that have been going around the first half of this year. So, but yeah, you're right. I wonder if this is going to be their actual summer event, or this is just something that they kind of push through until Games Fest.
Yeah, which is like a week and a bit after that.
So
that's why it's interesting, because we got a lot of stuff sandwiched in over the next few weeks with this new State of Play. We've got Game Fest, we've got the Xbox and Bethesda showcase as well in those first 2 weeks of June. So we got some big things on the way.
Well, it's very curious. So it'll be interesting to see what they announce. I guess after the fact, we'll see if they did it earlier just to, lower expectations before Games Fest, or they thought that they had some shit to show, so they wanted to kind of have their own moment. So
you know what? Like, all it's going to take for them to win 2022 at the moment is for this little summer State of Play to potentially end with a God of War Ragnarok teaser, and then drop an announcement date, like for release of, let's say, hypothetically, October or November 2022. That right there would just go.
Didn't it get delayed?
No, it's still allegedly on track for this year.
Oh, I thought this was one of the ones that was delayed into the first quarter of next year. But
yeah, it's still hanging in there. I just saw it got it went through sort of the local licensing through Korea for 2022, which states that it's going to be out this year, but we don't know any specifics. So we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. And as the big games are dropping like flies, yeah, God of War, even though it would already stand apart from a lot of those other AAAs, would be ascended even higher if they do confirm that it's coming out at the end of, let's say holiday 2022. In much different news, GameStop has officially entered the crypto and NFT space. The company announced that it has launched its own digital asset wallet that users can download via the Chrome web store. The video game retail chain is going all in on crypto, it seems. The company is now providing a wallet in which to store currency and enable current and future transactions. I'm just going to shoot from the hip and say, yo, GameStop,
you suck.
Oh, wow. Soundbite. Yeah, I always thought this was like kind of interesting because GameStop obviously had that infamous moment where their stocks and their shares kind of went through a bit of a roller coaster where people started buying and holding the line and all that sort of business. So, they kind of had a brush with the, stock market, and it seems like a lot of people who kind of sat within that space definitely moved on towards like crypto and NFTs and such. So I think GameStop is just kind of throwing darts at the board and seeing like what sticks. But this one's a bit weird. This one's definitely a choice because it's a wallet, right? So it's not that they've released their own crypto or that they've released their own NFTs. They're just creating a space for people to keep their
so they're almost just saying, we'll house your wallets and your various coins, and we'll just clip the ticket slightly on the way through for transactions. But I'm wondering if this is going to then open them up to having certain limited GameStop NFTs and make, like, I can already see the connectivity and the synergy here with some of the devs out there and the publishers jumping into NFTs where, let's just say Ubisoft, for example, release a particular skin, but you can only get that NFT-laden skin through GameStop, through their wallet. So I think there's some strategic partnerships that are going to pop up over the coming years. Yeah,
do you reckon that they're just guessing, or do you think maybe some higher ups at GameStop actually know what's going on and they've just said, yeah, let's just, if gamers are going to start having NFTs, let's be the space that they know that they're already familiar with and safe with, and they'll come to us, especially the uneducated and the people that are not so knowledgeable about NFTs. You're just going to go with what you know. Yeah.
It's a smart play. And you think of like the casual gamer, like you were talking about the brick and mortar stores, like they're becoming few and far between.
It's true, yeah.
And the casual gamer or the casual gamer's parents that are coming in to buy the games and like, oh, Mr. or Mrs. Smith, I know you're picking this game up or this console up for your son Timmy. Did you know if you were to sign up today for our NFT gaming wallet, you can also get him this free limited edition skin through Ubisoft or through publisher or developer XY. Would you like to pay the extra $1 to do that now? And it's like, sneaky. Like, I know this is all hypothetical, but you can already see things like that could be implemented pretty easily.
Essentially, we know that a lot of studios definitely depend on the pre-orders. Like, pre-orders are definitely something that they really depend on. So then that's why we see a lot of things of like pre-order bonuses and pre-order limited editions and such. I know from my personal experience, I don't really ever really pre-order anything because I never find worth or value in the items that are usually offered for pre-orders. But I guess now if they start throwing around NFTs as like pre-ordered bonuses and such, then yeah, you just, like you kind of suggested, you just pack it in together with the purchase and the pre-order, and then you got a wallet and then you got your NFT and everything's all a nicely knit bundle. And
that's it. And with those NFT skins or pre-order bonuses, they're a finite quantity. Like, it's not just like a Fortnite skin where everybody on Fortnite could buy it. Only a select few would have these NFT skins or perks or cosmetic items. So there is that FOMO there that could then generate more sales. So it's going to be interesting. The crypto market at the moment, it's hemorrhaging money left, right, and center. But it's very volatile, as people know. So it's going to return to form, then it'll dip again, and then there'll be another run, and so on and so forth. So we'll see what happens with this with GameStop, and if this might potentially flow into from the local markets. EB Games doing something like that, maybe. I don't know. That's interesting. It's dicey. On some unrelated news, but just wanted to shout out really quickly to a streamer known as Bushy Games, who has been starting to get a little bit of hype and momentum around the internet space because he's built a build in Elden Ring. So he set himself a goal where he wanted to one-shot only any boss. He couldn't attack this boss and take it down in 2 hits. One shot only, and he came up with this crazy strength-based melee build with I think the hammer was called like a Troll Smasher hammer. And then he had certain buffs and nerfs that he was combining to level up. And I watched this play I watched the highlight reel. It's about 50 minutes compressed down of his, I think, 24 hours or so total game time, where he was testing it out and seeing what kind of damage he needed to do to kill all the mainline bosses in Elden Ring. And he did it. And holy hell, it's impressive to watch. And just wanted to highlight Bushy Games there because, I've fallen off the Elden Ring train. I think you've fallen off the Elden Ring train. I don't know if I'm going to hop back on maybe one day.
Yeah, I kind of want to, because it's like after watching my husband play it, there's been like little things that I kind of thought like, oh, that's so cool. I want to experience that. I definitely do feed off a lot of other people's excitement experience, and I hear these things and I'm just like, I kind of want to experience that. I want to have my experience with that. So there's definitely things that make me want to play it, but I don't know. It's just that initial hurdle of kind of developing a character at a level where the game isn't such a struggle. Mm-hmm. And I think it's getting over that. So maybe I'll force my husband to kind of play the first part of a character for me, so then I can just play around with it after the fact. I'll have to see.
Yeah, it's a smart play. Like those first few hours are tough.
It's
And
brutal.
especially for someone that's not a Souls veteran. It's especially tough. But yeah, some of the people that live and breathe this game or this genre, it's just insane. Like we were talking offline about people going through and doing like no-hit runs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, get out of here.
It's
Get
wild.
out of here. You're far too good and far too talented. But yeah, hat tip to those gamers, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if you love something a lot and you got the time, then hey, put the effort in and reap the rewards. Rewards? Is it really rewarding?
Well,
I
you
guess
get rewards.
so, yeah.
You kill them and they give you an item usually and some runes. So I guess you reap in-game rewards.
Your gamer cred.
That's it. Something that I'm excited to reap the rewards in 2023. And this is the first trailer for Star Wars Jedi Survivor has premiered just this morning or just tonight, depending on where you are in the world, as part of the Star Wars celebration currently taking place. So this is obviously the sequel to the critically acclaimed Star Wars game that came out a couple of years back, known as Jedi Fallen Order. And in the brief cinematic trailer, we see Cal Kestis after the events of Jedi Fallen Order, where he's still on the run from the Empire. The trailer is short on plot. It's got plenty of Star Wars with new Inquisitors and new mysteries thrown in. Curiously, Cal, who spent the previous game gaining a family of allies, is all alone, and his lightsaber, which he spent so much time rebuilding, appears to fall into the hands of the Empire. Essentially, Cal is in a bad place at the start of Jedi Survivor. Respawn's next Star Wars action RPG will be released on next-gen platforms only, so we're talking PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, and PC. This is not happening on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, only new hardware stack, which makes sense because they can take advantage of the new development tools at their disposal. But the cool thing is, this game is coming out next year. I really, really, really loved Jedi Fallen Order, and I can't wait to jump back in and see what old Cal Kestis has been up to. And the trailer runs for about a minute or so. Looks stunning. Very dark and tense, but it looks great.
Looked beautiful. There was like moments in watching it where I'm like, hang on, is this FMV? Is this graphics, like CG, like what is happening? Because it, like, there are moments that it's just absolutely polished, and like I can't even fathom it being a game. I'm wondering if this is like, well, like obviously this is like you said, it's a small snippet, obviously cinematic. That's usually the best of the best content that you can usually see from a game. But I'm just wondering if maybe now, as we start seeing studios just saying, sorry, this next game is only going to be coming out on the newer gen consoles, like I wonder if we're going to really start seeing this like, this defining moment, especially in console gaming, where the graphics really gets bumped up and we really start seeing some incredible looking content. So it's exciting. I haven't finished the other game, but like it was fun. It was lots of fun. I enjoyed my time with it that I played, and this has me excited for this one.
I'm hyped for it, and yeah, it's awesome that we know that it's coming out next year. We don't know exactly when, but knowing we've got another big AAA to look forward to for 2023, it's going to be very full slate after a year of delays in 2022, and who knows what else is going to drop over the next day or two with this Star Wars celebration going on. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of trailers and a lot of new announcements for stuff making its way to the big and the small screen. And, maybe we'll see some more of the many Star Wars games in development from a whole host of new studios at the moment too. So yeah, good times. All right, the next bit of news, which I've called Netflix and Focus, and in a new presentation to investors, Sony has said it has a God of War TV show in development for Amazon and a further Gran Turismo pitch it is also working on, but they've also come out by confirming that Horizon Zero Dawn is getting adapted to the small screen for Netflix. 3 new Sony projects have been officially announced to be making its way to the small and the big screen at the moment. These latest 3 projects come in addition to another 3 video game adaptations, which Sony has listed as part of the presentation documentation as well. So obviously we're talking about HBO is currently shooting The Last of Us series, a Ghost of Tsushima movie, and a Twisted Metal show for NBC's Peacock.
So
of these
wild.
HBOs, The Last of Us appears closest to release and currently has a vague 2023 release date. The Mandalorian himself, Pedro Pascal, has been cast as Joel. Game of Thrones alum Bella Ramsey will be playing Ellie. Casting for the Twisted Metal series is currently ongoing, with earlier this week, Scream star Neve Campbell was tapped to play Raven. Falcon turned Captain America Anthony Mackie will play the lead role of John Doe. Sandman actor Thomas Hayden Church and Brooklyn Nine-Nine's Stephanie Beatrice will also star.
Yes.
As for Sony's Ghost of Tsushima adaptation, which seems further off, we've heard relatively little. The past 12 months has seen John Wick director Chad Stahelski and writer Takeshi Dosha attached. Reportedly, the adaptation is still in early development. So, Miss Hart, we got 6 big Sony franchises making its way to the small and the big screen there. Obviously, the Twisted Metal one still makes me laugh and roll my eyes, and I still don't know how it's going to work.
Such a choice.
And the fact that, like, Neve Campbell signed on for it now, like...
Also a weird choice. Like it. I'm sure it makes sense somewhere. But, like, I think when you start off with, like, oh, yeah, we're making a Twisted Metal TV show, it's just like, yeah, I'm sorry, you're what? Like, Ghost of Tsushima as a movie makes sense. Obviously, The Last of Us as a TV series makes sense. But yeah, Twisted Metal, weird. The idea that they're going out there and just taking all of their IP and turning it into, putting it on the screen essentially, regardless. God of War makes sense, but it's... Like, I remember what people kind of felt when they said that they were going to make The Witcher into a series. A lot of people are strong lovers of the Witcher franchise and were very passionate about it and were very extremely worried about it. I feel like doing God of War is just another level of that, and they're really going to have to watch themselves with what they do and who they pick and what they choose, because a lot of people love that franchise. A lot of people love the storytelling in that franchise, and the characters attached to it. So, like, picking a Kratos.
Yeah, like, the casting's going to be tough for all these, isn't it? Well,
Yeah.
apart from the Gran Turismo film that apparently is in development, like...
I know nothing about that. Like,
Yeah,
I just
nor
assume...
do I care.
I just assume Gran Turismo is going to be cars, like the Disney Pixar.
It's just Owen Wilson voicing the lead car in Gran Turismo.
Yeah, we've got to go really fast, guys.
Gotta go fast and get my S-grade license.
So, but I worry about, like, this, because what we saw with Halo, right? We saw where people said this is a loved franchise. Like, people love this franchise. There's already a story in this franchise, and there's already characters in this franchise that people love. But then when they turn that over, we've understood that they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to copy paste what people knew, and they wanted to take their own creative liberties. And let's just say it doesn't seem like it worked out for them. Like, based on the fan base, like, you could say that some people have really enjoyed it, but I'm going to say that a good majority did not enjoy Halo, the, like, series. So what Sony decides to do with these beloved franchises, it's going to matter. I guess maybe after The Last of Us gets released, we'll kind of know what Sony will do.
It feels like yeah, it's risky and it's divisive. Like what you mentioned there regarding Halo, is fans of these franchises hold them dearly. Like I adore these franchises, especially Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, it's one of my favorite games of all time, and I want what they take from that game and that source material to Netflix and convey it and convert it in the right way. And yeah, the casting's going to be big for all of these. Like, knowing Aloy so well on the screen, and if that reimagining on Netflix is different, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a moment to adjust and reset those expectations. But yeah, like, it's cool that Sony is throwing their hat into this ring, and they obviously want to diversify their portfolio and get more money and eyes on these IPs. Twisted Metal, as we said, still a head scratcher, but anyway. But yeah, like, they're they've taken their biggest franchises, you know, God of War, Horizon, The Last of Us, you know, these three big narrative heavy franchises and are doing what they can to get it converted to screen. But it's interesting they've sort of dropped them on different streamers. Like they haven't just partnered up with just Amazon wholly and solely. Like God of War's over on Amazon, Horizon's on Netflix, Gran Turismo's allegedly going to be made into a movie. We've got The Last of Us on HBO. So they're sort of like, they're not putting all their eggs in one basket, which I think is probably a smart move. It means we might get different retellings and different caliber of story and show. And maybe after this initial test run for these first series, when they make their way to these streamers, they'll realize, okay, maybe Amazon was the right place for all this, or HBO, but also allows them to tell different things tonally too, because obviously HBO is typically the grittier, more in your face, no hold back platform where there's less restrictions on what they can get away with.
I mean, Amazon's made some great content, and I'm sure they're not holding themselves back restriction wise. So, so maybe we could see a similar level of, you know, honesty in the oh god, but what happens if they try to hit God of War with like younger fans, so they don't make it as
violent and gory? Yeah, but I think they have to. Like, there's some heavy source material in the God of War games, and
it really is.
Yeah, like I'd feel probably more comfortable if Horizon was on Amazon, like, as opposed to Netflix. Like, Netflix is, don't get me wrong, Netflix has made some great shows, but
not with how Netflix has been running lately.
Yeah, like they're cutting costs, they're hemorrhaging money, where Amazon has got so many big fantasy TV shows on the books or in development. So I would feel a lot better with Horizon being on Amazon or on HBO as opposed to Netflix. So that part scares me a little bit, because Horizon's my favorite one out of all these franchises listed, and it's on the one with probably the most volatile environment, the most uncertain as far as the support. Like, and you know, Netflix are quick to cut shows. So if this Horizon show does not make whatever sum they've got in their mind day one as far as downloads and views, Horizon could be dead before it even finds a footing.
Yeah. Time will tell.
Time will tell. But yeah, Nev Campbell coming to Twisted Metal. It's gonna be so dumb, but I'm gonna watch it. Yeah. I just hope they make Axel the guy that's like part human and part car. You know, like his arms are attached to the giant wheels and his legs are attached to the axle on the bottom. Like, he's literally a man car. I hope we get Axel in Twisted Metal.
What was that? I was just trying to think of, what was that animated series where the guy used to turn into a car? It was from like it was like from like the 80s or something like that. I'll have to look that up. That's
I was thinking of like Mask, but they don't turn into cars. They just drive trucks and stuff.
Yeah, Mask. No, I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, but yeah, I think there's some of these could be executed really well. Like, I'm confident on The Last of Us. I'm confident on the Ghost of Tsushima film. I'm confident on God of War on Amazon. Gran Turismo film, I could not give two shits about. I don't understand. Is it just going to try and take the low-hanging fruit and become a new Fast and the Furious type franchise? I don't know. And then Horizon Zero Dawn, I hope gets the love and care it deserves. Like, it scares me because, yeah, Netflix has just been so up, down, round, around at the moment, and it scares me. All right. On the same note of The Last of Us, obviously the much rumored Last of Us remake reportedly launching later this year. So it's still officially unannounced as far as a date, but they're talking about the remake coming out at the back end of this year. This has initially surfaced in April of 2021, where Bloomberg reported the project had initially been in the works at Sony's San Diego-based visual arts service group before Naughty Dog was asked to take over. Further evidence of the project's existence emerged earlier this year when a member of Naughty Dog's QA team listed an unannounced remake, in quotes, on their resume, a reference which has since been removed. Yet while there's still no official word on a Last of Us remake, rumours of the project continue to swirl, with ever-leaky GamesBeat reporter Jeff Grubb now claiming it's set for a 2022 release.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, like, The Last of Us, phenomenal game. It has been ported and sort of uplifted for the PlayStation 4 back then when it was sort of, obviously it dropped on PS3 and then made its way to PS4 within that sort of transitional period with the platforms. Another fresh coat of paint for PlayStation 5. Cool. But I think what Naughty Dog should do is, if this remake is a thing, hold it off and have a Last of Us remake plus The Last of Us Part 2 bundle day one available when HBO's The Last of Us TV show releases. Like, try and have it all go boom, one time. There you go. There's all your Last of Us game content in one SKU, in one package, and here's the TV show that accompanies it.
Yeah, unless they're trying to do the preemptive strike where, like a lot of people kind of get ready for a series. So sometimes people play the game before then.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So maybe they're just trying to get ready for those people. And then when the series comes out and random people who have no idea about the game watch it, and then they're like, oh, maybe I should play this game. And then they've already got it ready to go. So
bit of a palate cleanser. In a weird,
I was going to say
dystopian, depressive way.
Yeah. But yeah, a remake. Maybe it looks good. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll play it. Who knows?
It'll look very pretty.
Like in Pig
no
Spy.
doubt.
Yeah.
It'll look great, and it's one of the best stories in video gaming. The last bit of news, Miss Hart, we're going to be tackling is the top 10 most played games this year are mostly old favourites. So despite a fulfilling start to the year for the games industry, none of the top 10 played games during 2022's Q1 were released this year. Earlier this week, NPD's Executive Director and Video Game Industry Advisor Matt Piscatella shared stats from the NPD's group's Player Pulse. The list, which chronologically ranks the top 10 most played games during 2022's Q1, sees games as old as 2009's Minecraft and 2013's Grand Theft Auto 5 still standing as player favourites. Piscatella pointed out that half of the games that made the list were launched before the 2020s, most notably Elden Ring, which we gave a 10... Most notably, Elden Ring, which became the best-selling game of the past year, ranked 20th and fell short to older games like Rocket League and World of Warcraft. Piscatella accredited the game's surprisingly low placement to the success of evergreen and live service games, calling them gravity wells for player attention, time, and spending. Q1 is typically defined as the period from January to the end of March, so Elden Ring would have only been released for 1 month. So obviously, Elden Ring has been selling boatloads and boatloads of copies, but that has since flowed on from that initial month's release. So I'd be curious to see where it stacks up for, say, the Q2 statistics, if it climbs those ranks and gets higher than that 20th number there as it currently stands. But yeah, we just love our nostalgia. We love our old games. We love our games as service. And it was interesting, that quote that Piscatella said there, where it's gravity wells for player attention, time, and spending. So, all them skins and microtransactions and whatever else, it's, no surprises. So, do you want me to rattle off the top 10?
Go
as
on.
far as what they were. So going from 10 down to 1, NBA 2K22 is at 10th. Call of Duty Vanguard is 9. Madden NFL 22 is at 8. Call of Duty Warzone is at 7. Animal Crossing New Horizons is at 6. Among Us is at 5. Fortnite's at 4. The Sims 4 at 3. Grand Theft Auto 5 at 2. And Minecraft is at 1.
Gosh. I mean, I understand that, usually the first quarter can be a bit light sometimes, but we've had a few titles now that were essentially due within that first quarter, pushed next year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely a lot of rumblings that I've been seeing on social media where a lot of people have kind of been attacking each other in stupid fucking console or bullshit, but just talking about how nothing's been released, how there haven't been many AAA games released and there's nothing to essentially play or fill that specific void. But I think it is good to pay attention that sometimes players just like playing the same game anyway, and that most of our attention can just be spent in the same kind of titles over and over and over again. I mean, we constantly see GTA as being the top selling game in numbers, and like Minecraft has just always been consistently popular, and there's just a really weird space in Minecraft that I have never really kind of stepped beyond, because I've heard some freaky obsessive kind of stuff happening over there, but that would explain its like it's still being relevant to this day, and gaining new fans. So I mean, like it's been an interesting first quarter of the year. Even now, with titles that have kind of come out, I don't think we've had anything extremely lasting. Elden Ring has probably been one of the most successful. I'm now trying to think if I'm about to eat my words on what has essentially since been released that could even hold a flame to Elden Ring at this point in time.
Yeah, like obviously Horizon Forbidden West came out this year as well, which was big time. But yeah, Elden Ring's been the story of the year so far by quite a margin. And
I wonder if
it's
exclusivity hurt Horizon then. When did Horizon come out?
Horizon came out in February.
Yeah.
Like we had even though God of War was a game that made its way to PlayStation a few years ago, it made its way to PC in January. I'm just looking at notable titles that dropped out this year. Yeah, like we had Gran Turismo 7 come out in March. The Witch Queen, the Destiny 2 expansion, came out in February as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like, yeah, a lot of like Kirby and the Forgotten Land, but it's a bit more like, it moves units, but it's
also still console exclusive.
Still console exclusive, Nintendo only. Like Tunic, which was an indie title. It's been a lot of indies because we've had a lot of the big name games delayed to the back end of this year. Pokemon Legends Arceus came out in January. But, they're specific platform exclusives as well, which would lessen the player base. So, yeah, people just going back to their comfort food. Going back to Minecraft, a game that came out in goddamn 2009.
He sold that ages ago, didn't he? Imagine knowing like it would be this popular. And I love that game. I love Minecraft, so I'm just a part of the pack.
Yeah, well, he's smart. Like he obviously cashed out for what was it, $1 billion. Like he made his money. He could have made more money if he held on to it for longer. But you know what? You take that money right then when you can, and not ever have to work again, and not ever have to worry. So, he's smart. And, that game is eternal. Like, we make fun of Grand Theft Auto 5 coming out in 2013 and still getting updates and being relevant. But Minecraft came out 4 years before that. And they're the top 2 most played games for Q1 of 2022. So go figure.
Yeah.
Like, if scaling it back, the top 5 games, the latest one was released in 2018. So the 5th place game, which was Among Us, was released in 2018. So the top 5 games are all 4+ years old. So go figure. Interesting. Horizon should have been on there because it's great. But anyway, let's jump into this. If you do actually want to hear about and play some new things this week instead of games that are 4+ years old.
New releases and events.
As far as podcasts coming out this week, you will hear the next episode of Comedy Rewind, where the Hoop Dreams boys are reuniting for one night only to tackle Will Ferrell's NBA love letter, maybe NBA basketball parody, known as Semi-Pro. So you'll be able to check that out on podcast airwaves this coming week. As far as new TV shows making its way to streamers, haven't been able to sort of dig up and see all the things coming out in the start of June. But the only one I've managed to dig up on Netflix of note is the 2nd season of The Floor is Lava, which is an absolute disaster of a game show on Netflix, which I enjoyed. It's dumb, it's silly, but it's accessible and easy viewing.
Yeah, the stupid shows are good. They pass the time and they keep you happy. Like, I watched a lot of old Iron Chef while I was sick. Pluto has a channel that just streams it 24/7. So I love watching that, and it's an interesting watch. I recommend going back and watching the classic episodes because there's a lot of interesting voiceover.
And are these like the OG ones from Japan that they did, not the Americanized version?
Yeah, no, these are the OG Japan ones.
So good.
So yeah. Yeah, think like a Takeshi Castle kind of level of a dubbing. But yeah, stupid fun's sometimes just all you need.
Exactly. And the other things, obviously, you'll see popping this week. We'll get the third episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi. We've also got the first half of season 4 of Stranger Things available to consume right now, and obviously the second half of that season will be dropping in early July. As far as new movies coming out this year, there's not a ton. There's a few like little indie gems scattered around the place, and like a Charlie XCX biopic that's hitting the screens, but nothing of note compared to last week where we had things like Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun, yeah.
Made its way to the screens, which I'm keen to check out. As far as games coming out this upcoming release cycle, we've got a lot of titles here. I'll rattle them off because we're sort of covering the last of May and then into the start of June here. So if we're looking at sort of from May 30, we've got Maglum Lord, Dwerve, Gremlin Collection 1, which is a compilation that stems from Ever Arcade, Intellivision Collection 2, which is another compilation, Just Shapes and Beats, which is an action music game, Lapin, which is a platformer, Morph Cat Games Collection number 1, Snow Runner making its way to some other platforms. It's obviously already available on things like Xbox Game Pass. And then we've also got Squish, which is a party platformer / puzzle game. And if we're looking at the start of June, we have got Death Run TV, which is a twin-stick roguelike, Pinku Koit, Hex Mortis, which is an RPG, Card Shark, which is a card RPG strategy game, which has been getting a lot of positive press out there from early previews. Clan O'Connell and the Crown Stag, which is a platformer. Diablo Immortal, which is obviously the mobile version of Diablo stripped down that you can have a look at. Gig Apocalypse, making its way to platforms as well on the 2nd of June. Gravatar Recharged. Surface Rush, The Last Clockwinder. Tokuyo, The Tower of Perpetuity, just rolls off the tongue. And the last one coming out this week is known as Super Perils of Baking. So, that looks cute. Little sort of throwback side-scroller done by Lilymo Games. Yeah, where it just highlights the dramas and the stress and strains of being the ultimate baker and getting cursed by an evil baking hat.
Hate it when that happens.
Circling back to last week, I actually did intend to have a look at a game that Jono and I talked about and that Benny mentioned up on Discord called Voodoo Detective, which is that point-and-click game that looks very nostalgia trip. Yeah, it's very Monkey Island-esque, and I went to buy it and play it, and the damn game's like $30. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm not paying $30 for this. I wanted to see what it was about, but you know what? My $30 is going to go towards pizza and buffalo wings instead. The game looks great, but $30 is a little rich for my blood, Miss Hart.
Says the guy who buys cards, fake cards on on his mobile.
You leave me alone. I've been pretty good lately. I spend all my money now on Fortnite skins. You leave me alone. It's been a bit of a down week on the Fortnite store, I must say. I've been checking it every day.
I have no idea.
There is an Obi-Wan skin now, which I'm like, maybe not. But nothing chasing my dollars this week, which I've not been too sad about either. But let's move into the last part of the podcast.
Tweet of the week.
And this tweet comes via way of @Glenn Schofield. And obviously Glenn is the creator of Dead Space from back in the day, and he is now chairing the upcoming game, The Callisto Protocol. And his tweet reads, FYI, at Callisto, the game is its own story and world. It no longer takes place in the PUBG universe. It was originally part of the PUBG timeline, but grew into its own world. PUBG is awesome, and we still have little surprises for fans, but TCP is its own world, story, and universe. So, yeah, like when this game first was announced and the trailer looks freaking terrifying, and I'm very excited for this game. It's coming out this year still, touch wood. But yeah, it's nice to see that Glenn Schofield has come out now and since said there's no connectivity with PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. And thank God, because that made no sense to me. No sense to me.
He's like saying like, don't worry, it no longer takes place in the PUBG universe. I'm like, what universe? Like, what lore would we understand to link them together except for an abundance of frying pans and a farmyard? Like
the great space frying pan war of 2075.
And people falling out of a plane in their underwear. Like, I don't think any of us could have linked anything to it anyway. Like, so, okay, cool. Glad to know it's not. And I don't know how you would have established a familiar connection apart from little
death.
Yeah, like a battle royale and frying pans and gas masks and other wonderful oddities that I'm trying to remember from PUBG, but it's like really escaping me now. That was quite some time ago.
Like Schofield did a recent interview with Game Informer, and I sort of just grabbed a little quote here, and he sort of said, when we came in, Crafton, who was part of the broader writing team, had a lore team, and they were writing this big story. Like, where does PUBG start? Where does it fit in? Had those plans continued, the horror game would have sat pretty far out along the timeline, but somewhere during development, the idea was dropped. So thank God, because it made no sense. Why would you hitch your wagon to that game and that universe when you're trying to make this crazy-ass survival horror that's going to be maybe the next evolution of Dead Space, potentially?
Yeah. I mean, so they didn't even really have lore. They were establishing it to connect it. So, yeah, so they were grasping at straws maybe to get that, reinvigorate that PUBG love. But yeah, I'm glad. They kind of can just freely do their own thing and not have any crazy attachments.
Yeah, I'm super happy for it. And yeah, if this game comes out at the back end of this year, which is the strong rumor, I cannot wait to play it because it looks freaking terrifying. But Miss Hart, that brings us to the end of episode 285 of THG. Anything else you want to say or shout out before we shut this studio down for another week?
I'm gonna probably see me on that Diablo Immortal on the phone.
On the mobile.
I'm just kind of very curious to see what this exactly is. My husband has established his firm interest in this game. I believe Benny also is very keen on this one. So yeah, should be interesting to see Diablo on my phone.
You need to buy one of these backbone controller adapters.
Yeah, I think you might have actually sold me on it now. Might have to look into it.
It looks good. I wish they were a little bit cheaper, but they still look pretty good. So, yeah, we'll see. You know what? Gaming on the go, it comes at a cost.
Yeah.
But listeners, that brings us to the end of the pod. Thanks as always for stopping on by, showing us that love. If you want to continue that love and pay that forward, obviously rate, review, subscribe us on Apple Podcasts. And if you do it on Spotify, obviously take a screenshot, send it on through. You can go in the running to win yourself a fantastic gaming headset from those legends over at Audio Technica. But for now, I think it's time to get on out of here, and you guys can go and watch Obi-Wan. Much love.
And stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.